Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady viewing at home, thank you all so much for tuning into Kinetic Aesthetic. I am your hostess with the mostest. Y'all already know my name is Germ, and the day is Monday, so I want to tell you before I tell you anything else. I hope that your week is starting off great, and I hope that your weekend was even better. Now, the day is Monday, so we don't normally review things on this day, but that's what we're going to be doing today. And that's something that we're going to be reviewing is the latest album by actor, television producer, comedian, but most importantly, musician. We're going to be reviewing the latest project by Vince Staples, and we're going to be reviewing that album, which is titled Crybaby. Now, unlike most of the regular albums that Vince Staples has come out with so far, this is not a traditional rap album. This is really one that he's spitting bars, but it's just not like your regular instrumentals. This is honestly the most sonically out there project that Vince Staples has put out there since the Big Fish Theory. That was actually the first project, speaking of it, that I listened to by Vince, the one that I really got me hooked on him as a fan. I had been aware of who he was with stuff like that, with North and the shit that came up before that. He had sort of gotten blown up because of his association, at least to me, through Mac Miller and Earl Sweatshirt, so I knew who he was through them. But that was the first one I listened to, and it was the most challenging. It had a lot of production from a producer named Sophie, and she is literally just not... Go listen to the Big Fish Theory if you haven't already. It is not a traditional rap album, although it has a lot of out there elements that really added to it. And I'm rambling just to say that this is the first time that Vince Staples, since I've been listening to him, has really went that far outside of the usual that you would expect from a rapper. And this even with the Big Fish Theory, that felt like it had a lot of house elements, a lot of electronic stuff, but it still felt like a rap album. This, on the other hand, is straight rock. From the opening track all the way to the end, there's so much guitar, there's so much. This really feels like this is Vince just seeing what it would be like to be a rock star. And it's to the point where I almost be like, this shouldn't be just named the Vince Staples album. You got to come up with a name for the band, because there was a lot of just great shit going on here. This felt like this is the type of album I would love to go see perform live. I'll put it to y'all like that. Another great thing about it is that it's only 35 minutes. This is legit just one of those albums that if you are not paying attention to, if you are not really locked in as you're listening to it, it will not only pass you by, you will really not be able to catch a lot of the themes, a lot of the stuff that he's talking about. And that's where I want to get to next, because in a year where we have all of this tension, politically, racially, between genders, just between people, just between us as a society trying to coexist, this is an album that has a lot to say. This is an album where it's somebody that's really examining and looking at the current state of this country, and really, especially for Black people, I will say, this is somebody who is trying to figure out why and how we got up to this spot. And I'm not going to say that Vince Staples is the only artist that I really see out here trying to really make it that deep, to really think about things from this level. I will say he is the only one that I've seen that is just this direct. This is not an album that has a lot of subtle messaging or clever shit that's going to go above your head. Vince is getting straight to the point. It's direct. This is damn near autistic communication, because this nigga doesn't know how to sort of sugarcoat shit. Me, I love that. But I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. If you are somebody who doesn't like to really have stuff to think about as you're listening to music, if you don't just want to have shit that you can just vibe out to and not really have to pay attention, this is not the album for you. This is an album that is a lot of that you're gonna be really wanting to pay attention to his lyrics. You're gonna be wanting to hear what he's saying. You are still gonna be able to groove and dance to it, but you're gonna be hearing him say some real shit. There's gonna be some, literally, the second song is just about gorilla, gorilla, go gorilla, and it's him talking about why is it that all these cops, that you can't trust them and that his life is in their hands. It's real shit, and it's literally what you would expect from somebody like Vince Staples. just musically and sonically, he's the only guy that I could think of that can make an album this sort of heavy and dense when it comes to the messaging and themes, and still just have it be good musically and sonically. The interesting thought that I had while I was listening to the album was just sort of, I think about somebody like Kendrick Lamar, and I hate to really bring him up to sort of make that comparison because Vince Staples is very much his own artist. Him and Kendrick definitely exist in their own realms. But I feel like Vince, for me, is just, he's doing what Kendrick Lamar thinks he's doing, or at least is trying to do. And it just feels more authentic for me, if that makes sense. I feel like Kendrick Lamar, especially at this point with the way that he has sort of been, his fan base has gotten, they've gotten obnoxious, they've gotten sort of, they've sort of become that, sniff their own farts bunch. I feel like Vince Staples is like the real shit version of that. And I don't know how to explain it. I'm not trying to like undermine Kendrick because I still think Kendrick is a great artist himself. This is more so talking about his fans and talking about the space and the role that I feel like he is occupying right now in the hip hop game. And that's another big part of what I love about Vince and why I think that he is very important in the role and spot that he occupies, because again, I don't know who else can make an album like this. I don't know who else even in the industry aside from Kendrick would be willing to try to make an album like this and be able to not only have it be good, but have it be able to maintain that authenticity and that just genuineness in the music. And so with all that being said, this album for me is a 9 out of 10. It is definitely something I'm going to be coming back to. There's already like 4 or 5 songs on here that I like, that I'm going to continuously be playing, that have been added into my rotation. Like I said, if you're not a person that's into rock, if you don't think that you are going to be digging the guitars and all of that and everything, if you just like that traditional rap sound, this is not going to be the album for you. This is an album of a nigga that's just going outside of his comfort zone, and it just works. So that's why I had to give it a 9 out of 10. I think this is something that's going to have a lot of replayability. And not only that, it's going to be something that's going to stand the test of time, just because it's especially as a black man, there's never a bad time to hear what Vince is saying on this album. There's always something to remind yourself. It's always something that's important to hear, to listen to, and to just really, it's just good to know that there's somebody out there that's still spitting that real shit. But that's all I really had to say about that one for y'all. Like I said before, go listen to this one if you haven't already. My favorite song on there is Cotton. I think that's a fucking jam. But literally the next song is great. The first song is great. Pretty much every song on this album is great. The only song that I can think of that not even really a skip, but just didn't really jive with me on first listen was White Flag. But outside of that, everything else has been heat, it's been fire, so I can't really complain. But I'd love to hear what you all think and what you all have to say about this album. So if you've listened already, or if you haven't, go out and listen to it and then come back and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me what your favorite songs were, or what your least favorite songs were. And then tell me something that you think I should review next. But with all that being said, this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. This has been your boy Germ. Make sure y'all continue to be good people. Drink a lot of water. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do whatever you have to so that you are never out of tune or whenever we drop something. And just continue to be good people. It's been your boy Germ. I'm outie.